Hey guys, just another unplanned video. I'll explain how this came about in a moment. Some of you might have seen videos in the past where we've talked about the presents that you often get in Japan. So there's lots of reasons for it. You'll often get a little bag like this with a box in it like this that's sort of very nicely wrapped usually. And that can be because somebody you know has gone somewhere and they've brought back a souvenir, omiyage, and it might just be, they might have just gone somewhere for the day, but while they're there they'll go into a souvenir shop and buy maybe half a dozen bags like this with boxes in them like that to bring back to give to family and friends and other people, co-workers, whatever. You're sort of obliged to. There's a whole video on this if you're interested in it, the giving of the presents thing, the giving of the souvenirs when you go somewhere. So it's sort of expected quite often. So that's one reason you can get them. The other reason it can be an apology for something. For some reason you might get one for an apology for something. There's a whole heap of different reasons. If you go to a funeral, there's a video we did about funerals, you'll get something like that from a funeral. Usually much better quality than that and a much better present than that because you've already given them money when you go to the funeral. So again, there's a whole video on that. Weddings is a similar thing. So there's whole heaps of reasons that you get these bags with these wrapped up things in there. Usually what's in there is food. Usually. Occasionally it's something else, but usually it's food. Usually it's mochi, or if it's a souvenir from a particular place, it'll be that specialty that they have in that place. So if their specialty is some sort of special mochi or some special cookie or something made of green tea or whatever the specialty is from that area, you know, from Nagano it might be apple, something made with apple in it or something like that. So usually they're quite expensive. You know, usually you won't get one that's worth less than about 20 bucks, and they can go up to a couple $100 depending on what the event is, what the thing is. So there's a whole heap of reasons we can get these, but this particular video, so we've talked about the funeral ones already, you can see that on another video. We've talked about the wedding ones, you can see it on another video. We made one about the souvenir ones, you can see it on another video. So they've already been explained. But it struck me today, while I was cutting up tin, actually, there's a video coming, you might have seen it already by now, cutting up some tin. I was cutting up some tin, and a guy appeared in workman clothes. There's a particular type of clothes that workmen wear here, and he's appeared around the corner here in his workman clothes carrying this, right? And I got a real feeling of dread, right? A real feeling of dread. I was like, oh no, because occasionally this bag, and this idea has just come to me recently because about a week or so ago I was talking to a guy who runs an English school here, an English guy who runs an English school here, and he was telling me that when occasionally a mother will turn up with a bag like this, and occasionally it's because it's a souvenir, he said, but more often than not it's because they're going to quit his class, and that what they'll do is they'll say, very sorry, you know, the boys become too busy at soccer practice, or, you know, for some other reason or some excuse that might be true or not true, they're going to stop his English class. And usually what they do is, but thank you very much for the lessons, and they give him this, right? And so the intention's always good, but he said every time he sees a mother turn up with a bag like this, he goes, oh no, because it could mean that he's just lost another student, right? So he only said that to me recently, about a week ago, and this guy's come around the corner carrying one of these, and it struck me that quite often these things are the present of doom. Right? Because it's the bearer of bad news. So in his case, it's often the students are quitting. In this case, the guy's wearing workman's clothes, and some of you already heard a video recently I did talking about the guy when he bought the place next door. And he turned up to tell us, you know, we're going to take your trees, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And at the same time, he handed over the bag, the present of doom, right? At the same time. So that happened to me recently. Then my friend was telling his story, and then today this guy's turned up with the present of doom. And I thought, oh no, what's this going to be about? And he explained, oh, starting from next week, he gave me a schedule. And it's got the schedule of what they're going to be doing. So of course he had the schedule written down, but at the same time he explained it, that starting from next week they're going to start tearing down all the trees, and then clear the block, and the week after they're going to tear down the house. So they'll probably tear down the trees, they'll put up scaffolding, and then they'll tear down the house. And so there's the whole schedule of what we've got to look forward to, right? But it just struck me after he left, I sort of threw this off in the corner and kept cutting up tin. But as I was kicking it over, I thought as soon as I saw that bag I knew it wasn't going to be good news, you know. And then I remembered what my friend had said, and then I remembered about the other guy turning up here with the present of doom. And it sort of came to my head, that present's the present of doom. Every time you see it, of course, their intention isn't that. It's sort of, they're apologising in advance. We've had it before. Another time, one of the utility companies was digging up the street, and they turned up with a schedule, and they often do that. I'll turn up with a schedule. They turned up with a schedule, and they said, "Here's our schedule. We're going to be tearing up the street to put down, might have been pipes or something. Here's our schedule. Really sorry for the inconvenience," and handed over the present, right? And their thinking is it's sort of like apologising in advance for the inconvenience, you know. But it's an obligation thing. It's another giddy thing. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because it's a cultural expectation that if someone's going to do something, it's going to mess you up. Oh, by the way, in his schedule, his explanation, he said, it says, you don't want to be putting out clothes washing. You don't want to be hanging wet clothes outside the house for the next couple of months, it says, because they're going to be making so much dust, right? And undoubtedly they'll put up their scaffolding with the sheet around it we've showed you before. But, you know, when they demolish a house, you know, 100 years of dust goes into the air, you know. So it says, don't be hanging out your washing outside for the next couple of months, and there's a whole heap of be careful about this and be careful about that. So, you know, you look and imagine the noise and all the rest of it for the next couple of months. And we're going to tear down your trees, you know. So, the present of doom. So no doubt there's a few people who watch our videos who live in Japan, so some of you guys might have experienced the present of doom yourself. You know, oh no, what's this about? What's this guy want? You know, come knocking on your door with the present of doom in hand. So anyway, that's not really their thinking about it, you know. It's just, they don't really think about it too much. You know, like, no doubt I'll hand it to my wife and she'll go, all right. And she'll look at the schedule and she'll be interested in that. But they don't see it like that. It's just those things, they don't think about it. They don't think about it. Quite often with things like that, if I do talk about it with a Japanese person, you know, for them it's just a normal thing. Of course they bring over a present. It's what they're expected to do. And vice versa. A lot of those present videos we've talked about what we do as far as, you know, when you move into a new house, you're expected to go around all the neighbours and give them a present. And you know, there's all sorts of examples. When we had our wedding, we had to give everybody who came a present, and depending on how much money they gave us for the wedding, that's a whole video, you know. But there's lots of times where we have to give other people presents. Oh, and when we go on holidays too, if people know, if we go somewhere and people know we're going somewhere, it's sort of expected that when we come back, we bring back a bunch of these and hand them around to family and friends and co-workers and people who know that we've gone away. So it's sort of an expectation. So again, it's a giddy thing. You're not doing it because you're a fabulous person. You're doing it because you're obliged to do it. It's a social expectation or a cultural expectation, you know. So anyway, that's enough of that. Got to go cut up some tin now, and chuckle quietly to myself. That's what triggered it. Was that I was cutting up the tin and I was thinking to myself, you know, that thing really, you know, it's I was remembering what my friend said, and I remember with other examples of this from our own experience, and I was thinking that present's the present of doom, you know, and it was making me laugh. So I thought I better go get the camera, share it with you guys, and if just one person got a giggle out of that, it was worth doing, wasn't it? So anyway, I'll take the present of doom inside and give it to the wife of doom, and she'll open it up to see what's in there. It's going to be cookies, or actually, we could do that, couldn't we? Just 1 second. Shush. It's a secret. It's a secret. So they're really, really well wrapped. Japanese people are embarrassingly good. He wouldn't have wrapped it himself. It would have been wrapped by the shop that he bought it from. But Japanese people are incredibly good at wrapping stuff, so it puts the pressure on us. Oh, it's a towel. There's the other thing they give you. Because towels are such a thing. And if you haven't heard about that already, go to our channel page and search towel, and it explains all about towels. The personal towel. It's not going to be a real big one. It's going to be a personal hand towel. Yep, that's what it is. One personal hand towel. It's like the standard size. That's what it is. Probably a reasonably good quality one. I wouldn't know what a good quality one. Comer Carcasm is a French name, is it? Whatever that is. So yeah, that's a fairly standard. That's a standard as well. It's usually something, Japanese presents are usually something you can eat or something you can use. They usually don't give you some useless thing to put on a shelf somewhere, because Japanese people don't normally do that. So that's why it's something you can use or something you can eat usually. So that's what we get in exchange for our 2 months of noise and having our trees ripped down, and the modern world comes next door, you know. So fortunately, that kuda you can see there is not going anywhere. That belongs to the other neighbour, so that'll be there. That view's not going to change in the near future. It might later on, but in the near future that view's going to stay the same, fortunately, because we're at the back of the house here. Anyway, that's more than enough of that. Time to cut some more tin before the sun goes down. More videos coming soon.